Yes.
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 They have their own soundscape in terms of words down there. And so Throid is where the sea hits the stones. But then up further, the Clodagh, or the Clodagh elsewhere, is where stones bang against other stones. So it's that sort of lilting, simple, gravelly sound with the tide coming in against the pebbles and the shells. The schligoin is the shells. And the main thing he was hearing, obviously, were, I mean, beyond the birds and skies, the farm animals.
Yeah.
You know, Gaimnach na mó na gauna, the gaimnach, the lowing of the cows, no buidach mbuil. The buidach is the bellowing of the cattle of the cow. Or that lovely word dianach. And dianach means the lonesomeness of a cow bereft of her calf.
They're taking the potato with their hand, they're dipping it in the dip and they're eating. That's how fundamental and debased the diet was. This is every day, all day, without variety and without break. It's absolutely extraordinary.
You can see without being seen, you can hear without being heard, but you can't touch without being tangible and tactile.
Smart.
So you're exposed to the animals, you're exposed to the world. And I mean, there is an argument, but I don't want to be, too tragic about this, that in leaving the place of your origin and your birth, where you're in touch with things, and even without being romantic, because it wasn't romantic, he may have been going barefoot to school. He may have been in touch with animals.
Yeah.
Because they were close to animals, whether it was cattle or sheep or whatever. They were in touch with a very elemental animal world.
Yeah, the smell comes up.
And the heather, of course.
When we arrived in the States, I thought that everything was much more angular because the light was so much more steel-like. And here, because there's haze, because the sky changes all the time, but it's all very different.
You may never see the green fields again, you may never see the Atlantic roaring in, you'll never see a summer's day in the setting in which you were brought up. Absolutely. But you'll never forget it.
Remember that we're standing here in a place where John James most certainly would have stood, and would have seen that sight just as we see it there, and feel the wind on our faces and the way they were feeling, and the wetness and the cold or the warmth or whatever it is, and that palette of colours that we see there. This was the palette that he knew. These soft greens and those soft greys and the occasional blues there. It's a very different sort of world, and he's hit surely by it once he arrives in Boston. What an experience.